Imagine if you could easily find solutions to make your region or city smarter, greener, better connected, more social, and closer to citizens. The Interreg Europe Policy Learning Platform can help you access knowledge about the latest policy trends, discover expert-validated good practices from all over Europe, find solutions in our peer review, get tailored support from our expert team. We can connect you with the right people and organizations. Together, we will find ways to solve your region's or city's challenges. Start your policy learning journey today.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our first episode of the biowaste webinar series. Today, we will be looking at exploring methods to increase biowaste collection. So I'm here with my colleagues, Magda Michaliková, who is a thematic expert for Greener Europe, and Valentine Dufay, who is our events and social media expert, making sure that we can all have a really good, interactive, enjoyable webinar. And my name is Astrid Severin. I'm also a thematic expert for Greener Europe at the Interreg Europe Policy Learning Platform. And we have here with us a very exciting panel of speakers. So let's take a close look at our agenda today. We will have a great keynote presentation from Manon Jourdan from Zero Waste Europe. She is going to give us all the background and figures that you need to know if you want to know how to best collect biowaste. And then we're going to go into some policy changes and good practices from the Interreg Europe community. We're starting off with Elin Elfström. Hello, Elin, from the Municipality of Söderhamn in Sweden. She's talking about food waste collection and anaerobic digestion systems to us. So we're looking forward to your presentation. And then we're going to Finland with Kimmo Rinne. Hello, Kimmo. Good to see you. From Salpakierto Municipal Waste Management Company in Finland, and Kimmo is going to speak about improving the collection of biowaste from detached houses. And finally, last but not least, we're really happy to go to Portugal, to Lipor, which is located in Porto, and we have Ana Lopes with us. Hello, Ana. Maybe I should say Lopes. And you're going to speak to us about pay-as-you-throw system schemes and self-sustainable financing models for biowaste collection. Also a very interesting subject. And then we hope that we have a lot of questions and we can have a really good discussion with our audience. First, I would like to start with some words about Interreg Europe. The program has a budget of almost 390 million euros, and it focuses on one big priority, and that is capacity building. So that is something we are trying here today also with this webinar in the area of biowaste. We have 36 countries involved and 7 new countries. So the program has very recently welcomed Moldova and Ukraine, and also some countries from the Balkans. So Interreg, as you know, is having projects. That's the usual way of collaboration and capacity building, where regions can exchange and transfer practices on specific regional development issues. And currently there is a big call open. It's the 3rd call that Interreg has launched, and it will finish on the 7th of June. So there's still some time to apply. The other big pillar of Interreg Europe is the policy learning platform. We are working very hard on exploiting the project achievements and opening up the program to everyone, to all the regions and municipalities in Europe, so that you can benefit from what has been learned. So how do we do this? We have a lot of policy learning opportunities. We're organizing access to knowledge, to people, and to expertise. And Under the access to knowledge, you will find a lot of databases. Next slide, please. A database with a lot of good practices from all over the EU. We're also writing policy briefs. We have stories, news, and publications that we are making available. But we also organize access to people. So we have a huge community that is working together here, which you can join. And we are organizing networking and policy learning events online and on-site as well. So in the near future, we will have some upcoming events. The second episode of our series is taking place next week on the 30th of April, where we will then speak about innovative bio-waste treatment solutions. And we also have an exciting workshop coming up that is on-site in Vienna, where we will be speaking about promoting sustainable materials and circularity in the construction sector. Very important subject, and also both events are open for registration. And finally, we are organizing peer learning possibilities. So we have peer reviews that we are organizing. It's 2-day events where you can ask a specific policy challenge to us, and we will try to help you with experts to come to your place. And we also have the small brother of that. These are the peer reviews, the matchmaking sessions, which we can organize online and on-site, and it takes about 2 hours. So don't hesitate to get back to us if you want to get some advice, and we can organize these events for you. We have a lot of resources. So the peer reviews I've just mentioned, the waste treatment and the waste sector has been very active. A lot of questions we have been getting. So we have been working on separate waste collection, for example, with Burgos in Bulgaria, or with Lipor that is here today, and they will tell us a little bit about their experience, or with the Warmińsko-Mazurskie voivodeship in Poland, but also with circular economy in textiles in Greece. And we have policy briefs that you can read and access through the Interreg Europe portal on separate waste collection, for example, or waste management in a circular economy. So there's a lot of material that is available, and you can ask us questions, and we will help you to get along. So now, before we are going to our presentations, we would like to see a little bit who is in the audience, and would ask you to answer a poll, which my colleague Valentine is going to launch. So please let us know what type of organization you're coming from. So we will wait a little bit. So it could be local, private sector, EU institution, waste management organization, of course, an NGO, or another organization. If you're coming from another organization, then please let us know what organization that would be. So we can still vote. We are waiting a little bit. Okay, I think we can see a trend here. I think almost 60% are coming from local, regional, or national authorities. So excellent. Of course, some waste management organizations, and then a good share of private sector and NGOs. Well, thank you very much for voting. And now we would like to ask you how you would rate the performance of bio-based collection in your own region. So single choice, please. Do you think this is already working outstandingly, or it needs improvement, or it meets already your expectations, or it is completely unacceptable? That's, of course, also an option you have here. So for the moment, we are still changing between meets expectations and needs improvement. We'll wait again until about 50 people have voted. Okay. So then let's say there is some improvement needed. So we hope that you will get a lot of input today on what you could do and some good practices. And finally, we would like to ask you to let us know what are your main challenges with biowaste collection. You can input some words here, and we will leave this possibility to vote open, so we can, during the webinar, collect your ideas on what is still missing with regard to biowaste collection. So what improvements you need, where you're finding the main obstacles when you're trying to introduce it or to improve it. So the cloud is already getting very interesting. Quality, purity, source separation that goes in the same direction, the bags, the plastics in the biowaste that goes also in the direction of quality, high density areas, very interesting. So I would ask you to keep filling in this word cloud, and we will look at it again towards the end of our webinar. And with that, we are not speaking from our side today about what is really important about biowaste, but we have some interesting presentations, and we want to start with Manon, who is going to give us a lot of interesting background of where we are standing, what has already been tried and tested, and give us also some interesting examples from frontrunners, let's say. So Manon, the word is yours, and we're looking forward to your presentation.
Thank you so much, Astrid. Happy to be here with you for this first episode of the webinar on biowaste. I will try sharing my screen. Please let me know if you can see it. Yeah?
Now it's working. Yes.
Perfect. Yeah. So I've been asked today to make a little introduction about biowaste collection, and more especially how to best collect biowaste from households. So I will try to give my best to provide you with some answers in about 10 minutes. But very briefly, before to start to get into the core of the topic, I would like to go again on our approach at Zero-Waste Europe. So at Zero-Waste Europe, we really try to push for solutions respecting the waste hierarchy. So from refuse, rethink, redesign to, of course, unacceptable solution. Applying this on food waste and bio-waste means that we will always push for policy preventing first food loss and waste from a farm to fork approach before to go into the optimization of bio-waste collection system, which hopefully would divert as much as possible bio-waste from residual waste stream in order to collect high quantity of bio-waste, but also from a good quality. Having said that, I would like to re-emphasize on the importance of separate collection of bio-waste. You all know probably why we are talking about this topic today, but I will re-emphasize on the two key roles of organics, which are quantitatives, as organizing the proper biowaste collection has, as you know, waterfall effect on the other fractions, which will allow municipality to collect not only better quality dry recyclables, but also to achieve the highest material recovery rates, both for organics and dry recyclable. And this is key to be able to reach, sorry about that, oops, sorry about this. Yeah, this is key to reach the EU targets for the preparation for reuse and recycling of biowaste, which stands nowadays to 60% by 2030 and 65% by 2035, and which are unlikely to be met if municipalities do not focus on proper biowaste collection. The second key role of organics is operational. By minimizing organics in residual wastes, municipalities will be able to cut their collection runs for residual waste and to optimize the system as a whole, and so to save costs. So quantitative, operational, we have great reasons for municipality to start their biowaste collection and go for the most performing system, but this is not really happening. These are just a few data to show you the state of the situation right now, and also showing you that we have currently a problem in Europe. So currently between 118 and 138 million tons of biowaste are generated annually, which represents roughly half of municipal solid waste, and out of which only 40 million tons of municipal biowaste are separately collected and then processed into high compost and digested. These are data from the European Compost Network from 2022. And if you make the calculation, this means basically that about 17–18% of all biowaste being produced is currently recycled, treated, valorized. This also means that we have the big majority of municipal waste generated in Europe, which is still disposed of through landfilling or incineration. Some of you may think, yes, but now we have an obligation for EU member states to collect biowaste separately, or at least to ensure the recycling at source. But what we've been seeing is that since there is no targets, performance obligations for member states to achieve great results when they organize biowaste collection, we can see that there is a trend currently for municipalities to opt for the cheapest and easiest options to comply with the requirement without really bothering themselves with the impacts of the performance of the system. And this is translated into, for example, like one of the most common and preferred solution currently is a bring system with large open bins that are put out in the streets for biowaste, which are not, as data show, the most performant system that exists. Having said that, having stated the problem, I would like now to briefly present some best practices and examples of European frontrunners, because luckily the solutions already exist and from a diversity of context across the EU. So I'll try to showcase you now a few examples of best practices and try to illustrate them also with some data and a few case studies. So the first best practice I would like to highlight, which works very, very well to motivate the users, the citizens, to do the right thing, which is, in this case, collect biowaste and participate in the separate collection system. So this first best practice is the free distribution of what we call CCC, so clean, comfortable, and compact collection tools. Namely, as you can see here, this is an example from Milan. I think most of you know that Milan is one of the best practice of biowaste collection when it comes to high density urban areas. So in Milan, they have set up a door-to-door collection of biowaste for the entire population since many, many years. And one of the key aspects, of course, that motivated the participation of a huge percentage of the population was the free distribution of starter kits containing a kitchen caddy of about 10 liters, which is small, so compact, comfortable, and very easy to use, and keep the collection clean at home, let's say, completed with compostable bags, so all free, and also like a large garbage bin that can be put in waste room of the buildings. So this really ensured that the participation of the inhabitants living in apartment buildings were high, okay? And as you can see here on this graph, we can see that there is a correlation between the percentage of compostable bag being distributed and used and the level of impurities containing in the biowaste. So there's a positive correlation. And this is really showing that compostable bags make the collection easy, user-friendly, while also allowing for visual inspection, clarifying the sorting rule, and as a side positive effect, enhancing the purity of the material. The second best practice I would like to promote, to showcase today is door-to-door system, which are currently the ones that are proven to deliver the best result, not only in terms of quantity of biowaste collected, but also in terms of quality. So door-to-door system present various benefits. They allow the identification of the waste producer as the waste is collected directly from the curb or in front of the door, which allow a better tracking of the waste producer, which are obviously not possible with bring system, which in some cases, of course, this identification of the waste producer enable a better quality and compliance control with the application of penalties or fine, as it's the case also in Milan. And of course, this also allows a higher diversion rate of biowaste from residual waste, so better results. A few data to showcase that. These are data from 2016 from the Waste Agency of Catalonia, in which you can see that door-to-door system not only allow the municipality to collect highest quantity of biowaste, but also to reduce the level of impurities in the biowaste content. So in door-to-door system here, there are 6%, while in others, such as street areas, so bring system, it's 14%, and in combined system, 11%. Other data is presented here. In green, you have door-to-door, while in red, it's bring system. And you can see this so-called waterfall effects, where you can see that door-to-door system not only allow you to capture more biowaste, but also to capture more of the dry fractions. All right. This was the system that Milan chose to introduce more than 10 years ago. I saw in the challenges identified previously in the poll that some said, some mentioned the fact that, how to collect biowaste in a high density area. I think Milan also stands from the crowd from this reason, because it's a big city, million inhabitants, 80% of the population living in high-rise buildings, and they've been stuck for years with a waste collection rate at around 35%. They introduced more than 10 years ago, door-to-door from canteens, bars, restaurants daily, twice a week. They collect as well biowaste in door-to-door in the early morning for households who are distributed the starter kits presented before. And they also collect food waste from open markets, right? I'm not going to go through all this data. I guess the slide will be shared with you after, but one thing we can get from it, like one key data you could remember, it's the fact that currently Milan is able to capture about 87.5% of the total biowaste generated in the city, which is a very big amount. And they also have, low level of contamination for a city of that scale and with that density. All right, let's go to the last best practice I would like to present you today, which are incentive schemes and other kind of financial incentives, which are, let's say, giving the right push in the right direction. So pay as you throw, combined with door-to-door even better, but pay as you throw seems to be a very positive tool to promote biowaste collection, to promote the right behavior. So the most common pay-as-you-throw system that we often advocate for is a pay-as-you-throw with a fixed fee, which covers the core operational cost of waste management, and the remaining variable fee, which can trigger both the reduction of waste generation and an increase of the collection. I will share with you the link of a case study later from France, from the city of Besançon, who implemented a pay-as-you-throw and obtained very great results. Other kind of financial incentives can be obviously introduced to stimulate biowaste collection and treatment, such as high taxes and gate fee, especially for landfill or incineration. Financial penalties, as I mentioned briefly before, can be also introduced to improve the compliance with the system, especially when impurities are found, and other kind of financial incentives can also be given to compliant citizens. Of course, all those tools can be adopted horizontally together. It doesn't have to be just one and not the other. All right. Very briefly, one best practice we can mention today is the landfill tax in Catalonia, which is a well-known incentive scheme mechanism introduced and managed by the Waste Agency of Catalonia, where a landfill tax is set at a high price and increase also years after years. It will increase to 70 euros per ton in 2024. 50% of the revenue generated by this disposal tax is allocated to the biological treatment of biowaste and mechanical biological treatment of residual. And then there's a remaining revenue, which is then refunded to the local authorities according to their performance on separate collection of biowaste. So it's a sort of retribution of good behaviors. So this is a very interesting mechanism that I really encourage you to look into, because it really helps promoting the right system. Finally, because I don't have much more time, I would like to recommend you to check, of course, our Zero Waste Cities website, where we published a lot of case study, fact sheets, and reports on biowaste collection, and also to check the livebiowaste.eu project, which is a currently a live-funded project, which will run until mid-2025. We are part of it together with 4 other European organizations, and we are producing a lot of materials, and you can expect in the next week the publication of guidelines for collection of biowaste, treatment of biowaste, governance and financial incentives, as well as communication and engagement best practices. So we will publish this set of guidelines, which should be very, very useful for local authorities. And finally, I encourage you to follow our Fork to Farm campaign on social media, where we are promoting best practices across the EU in terms of biowaste collection, and we try to address that topic in a fun and engaging way. And we're going to do that campaign throughout the year until the end of the year to really promote best practices. All right, this was for me. Thank you. I hope I managed to stick with the time. And that's it. Very happy to take your questions a bit later.
Thank you very much, Manon. No, that was perfect. Treating such a difficult subject, and as we can see, already some discussions are starting in the chat, so that's something we can talk about. So first of all, thank you very much for pointing at the different collection systems. As you say, the bring systems are working the least, and then you have the door-to-door collection, and you have the bags. So the compostable bags and the compostable liners, I guess, are already starting off some discussion. Before going to this, I wanted to also say thank you for pointing out not only the pay-as-you-throw system as incentive to increase the biowaste collection, but also the landfill tax that you have just mentioned. This is a very important tool, and we have seen from the example from Catalonia that it works very well. We have some colleagues here, if I see the chat correctly, from Catalonia, so maybe they can also share some links if they have to a report or something where people can get inspired how they have been introducing and increasing this landfill tax over time. So this brings me to the bags, the compostable bags. So also in Milan, we have seen a lot of the biowaste is being brought to anaerobic digestion plants, biogas plants. And indeed, not only for the anaerobic digestion, but also for the composting, bags can be difficult. So in some cases, they get mixed because they're not decomposting so fast, so they get mixed in the machinery, or they're still present in the compost for a long time. So we have here some suggestions from Finland, for example, that we should use rather brown bags, paper bags. What is your experience with that? Do you have any input you can give the audience on the bag question?
Yeah, I think it's a common fight. What's the best? I think there are pros and cons for both, but obviously I think it also depends of the treatment, like the treatment technology that is used. After all, in some in places where you have a pre-treatment before going to the digestive production, the use of compostable bags is totally fine. In some places, like in Germany, this is not the case, so they would go better for paper bags. Our position on that is, whatever you're using, I think the use of a bag which decompose, may it be compostable plastic, if you have the right technology, of like the right treatment technology after or maybe paper bag, it's fine, because they both allow the user, the citizens, to, as I was presenting before, to collect in an easy way, in a user-friendly way, to separate in a user-friendly way their bio-waste at home. So this is kind of the goal we are looking for. So yeah, I would say that we can, obviously, depends on each context in which the collection is organized and the treatment technology that is used, but the use of such collection tools should be implemented and distributed to citizens.
Thank you very much. So I think what you say, the conclusion is, if compostable bags, plastic bags, then have a pre-treatment in place. And then there's also the trolleys, you know, these little trolleys like we have seen from Milan, or in Brussels, for example, we have them also, these orange, which you can put in front of your door. So you're getting a lot of positive feedback, congratulating you for your presentation. And a question is here we're getting from Mike. He's asking, is door-to-door feasible for high population density areas? How are high-rise apartment buildings incorporated in door-to-door schemes? So another big question.
Hey, Mike. I know Mike. So yeah, it's a very interesting question. And I think, yeah, again, the example of Milan is great for that reason. So the good thing that the city of Milan had was the presence of waste room in most, if not all, apartment buildings, high-rise apartment buildings. This waste room allowed the municipal waste company to store different bins for the different waste fraction. So it's very easy because people got distributed for free, as I showed the starter kit, so the little kitchen caddy together with the roll of compostable bag. It could also be paper bag, okay? And once the bin is full, the kitchen caddy is full, they just have to go to the waste room, which is often located at the first floor, empty it in a bigger bin, be 120-liter bin, and that's it for them. Well, it's also easy for the waste collection company, which just comes, empty it in the truck twice a week, early morning, and it works very, very well. I guess in some other cities which have different kind of typology and also cannot rely on the presence of waste room, the question is a bit different, and they have to find other solutions. But it's possible. That's what the Milan example shows, that this is possible. And it's also the solution that has been adopted in other big cities, such as Bratislava, very recently. And they got very, very good results as well. So it is possible.
I also know this is happening in Paris, for example. So there's also waste rooms in Paris.
Yeah, but the example of Paris, unfortunately, is a bit. Yeah, they tried, but it's a topic for another time, I would say.
For another time. And also, I think they have not only incentive systems in Paris. That's why I was thinking about it. Yeah, they also have also punishment. So if people are not cleanly separating, they just don't collect the waste.
Paris was doing a few pilot projects with testing door-to-door system in some neighborhood of the city, but now they are opting for bring schemes. So that's why I'm a bit careful with Paris, but yeah, we have other great examples elsewhere. I would gladly advise you to read about Milan. I don't know if it was shared as a resource here, but I can share it after all. And Bratislava is also very good.
There is a lot of resources already shared that you have been doing. So everything you can be finding in the chat, and also you will have access to the recording afterwards, to all the presentations. So you can see that. And if you have additional questions, you can always come back to us later. So yeah, Piotr Barczak is saying the clue is to facilitate to customers this collection user-friendly. If the compostable bag helps, they introduce it into your community. So that is one of the good things, and that's one of the problems that the bringing systems have. They are not very user-friendly, sometimes very far away, apart from maybe in the Czech Republic, where it is not so far away, but okay.
And if I just may add something, because I didn't have time in this presentation, but I think one key best practice as well we should really emphasize is the implementation of communication interventions to really promote the biowaste collection system. So it goes a bit in this the direction that Piotr in comments is saying, like you need to make the system user friendly, but you also need to promote the user friendliness with good communication tools. So don't forget that part.
Absolutely important. We have another question coming from Emma Vendrell. Thank you, Magda, because there's a lot of things in the chat. Thanks for pointing it out. What about the common citizen cliche that separating waste is a farce and that the municipalities are not really ready for separating and recycling? Would you support that thought?
What's your guess? No. I think, again, I think it sometimes becomes an excuse that we are not ready, that citizens don't want to separate the biowaste at home. And we have so many examples from across Europe showing that when you set up biowaste collection system with the right hardware and software, so with the right collection system adapted to your context and software, so the right communication and engagement tools, and it works. People join and participate. I think the key thing here is just to say that you need to make easy to do the right thing and hard to do the wrong one. So no matter how you want to interpret this sentence and how this could be translated in your own context, but yeah, it has to be, it can work. And I think we have to stop saying that people are not ready for change, because they are, yeah. And at least we have so much data from sometimes 10, 15 years ago showing that, it works when it's done properly. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I would very briefly ask our other panelists, what do you think about that? Would you agree with that statement, that make it easy to do the right thing and hard to do, let's say, the wrong thing? And good communication, is that the key to get the citizens on board for separate biowaste collections? I see Elin smiling.
Maybe. I don't know really, but I think it could be.
So what do you think, Ana, in Lipor? Was that the key? I think you work a lot with good communication, no? We cannot hear you. No, we cannot hear you. Very sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes.
Okay. I was saying that I agree with Manon. Sometimes it feels like it's an excuse so that everyone is forgiven for not giving all they have to implement the new projects. As we will also see in my presentation, there are a lot of challenges. It's difficult to overcome them, but it's possible. And of course, with continuous communication campaigns, it's mandatory so that we continue to have success in our processes.
Super, thank you very much. Anything you would like to add, Kimmo, on this point?
Yeah, I think it's very important to understand why we are not accusing the people or us that we are not sorting the bio-waste or any waste, but it's our job to find out possibilities that the households are able to do as easy as possible. So I think it must be the positive way how we are trying to improve the recycling rate. So it's challenging, but there are different, of course, always quite often it goes to the kitchen. We don't have room and etc. But we have to find out solutions how to make it very easy to do the collection or sorting for people.
Thank you very much. Yeah, easy, user-friendly, and good communication. Well, we have one other question from Christophe, and I would ask Magda to remind this question later, so we can go on a little bit. That is a question about controlling or penalizing the impurities, but let's see that a little bit later. So thank you very much, Manon, for your great presentation. And let's go to Sweden, please. We are starting with Elin, who is from the Municipality of Söderhamn. And so food waste collection and anaerobic digestion is also your subject. Here we go. The word is yours.
Yes, thank you. And hi, everyone. Yes, I'm Elin Elfström, and I recently took over as project coordinator for this project for Söderhamn after my colleague Bitti. And she was the one who originally presented this at the beginning of the core project a year ago, I think. But I will do my best to present this as well. Yes, as said, it's about food waste collection and anaerobic digestion system for biogas and biofertilizers. I think I have, no, one, no. Yes, it's about the collection and recycling of household food waste to be recycled to biogas and biofertilizers at the regional plant. And the context here is that the food waste is separated from household waste and with coordinated collection. And as from January this year, all the municipalities' households are separating food waste on mandatory basis. Before this, it was not mandatory, but it was cheaper. The fee was lower if you had the brown bin for food waste. And here's some facts. 930 tons were collected annually, and almost 30 tons were home composting, and for that you need permission from the municipality. All other food wastes are supposed to be collected. And our system for this was implemented during 2012 to 2014. And the resources that was needed was vehicles for the collection, and we used 2 compartment loaders, 2 different types of them. And it's our infrastructure company owned by the municipality that is in charge of the of the collection. And then other actors involved are Ecogas and municipalities household. And Ecogas is our regional plant that may produce the biogas and biofertilizers. And the results after the implementation of the system was that 81 of the households are using the brown bin, meaning that 19% are not yet separating their food waste. And the aim was to reach 100% from this year. And this was the results a year ago when this was presented the first time. And today we actually have 100% that are separating their food waste because of this new legislation. And I will talk a bit more about that. And the beneficiaries are that Ecogas gets more material to recycle without increasing the total amount of food waste, but due to higher grade of correctly sorted materials. And the food waste is being processed at the regional plant into biogas and biofertilizers. And the biogas are then upgraded to vehicle fuel, and the biofertilizers are replacing mineral fertilizers for local farmers. And both are used within the region. And we get the residue that is only used as building soil and not and not as soil as we want to. Yes, this is just some figures. We can move on. And the lessons that were learned after this implementation is that the system is already in place and we're going to expand. And a change in behavior has already been seen, and citizens are more aware of how much food is thrown away. And less food waste is going to regular garbage and more into recycling. Yes, and they found out that 19% were not active, but that's not true today. And yeah, it's the residue that we want to purify to use as biosoil and not just building soil. That's the negative lesson that we find. Challenges is that we want to change behavior, and we want to keep the food waste pure enough, because now we have everyone sorting it and we collect from everyone, but it's not pure enough from plastics. So the households must be better at sorting, and we want to find a more efficient way of cleaning the material on site and increase the collection through higher grade of correct separation, not through more food waste. And as I said, refine the residue to produce biosol that can be sold to the public. So now when we have 100% active, the focus is on the purity. That is now 96%, but the target is 98%. And some actions that has been done is that the municipality-owned company had made a short film together with local comedians and actors on information about food waste and how to take care of it. And also the implementation of the new law is, of course, one of the biggest impacts. And but together with that, we used information campaigns and measures for behavior change and education about this new law and how to manage it. But we're also looking for more ideas on how to get more pure food waste. Yes, I think that was it.
Thank you very much, Elin, for your presentation.
Thank you.
It's very impressive to see that you have right away achieved a 100% participation rate.
Yeah.
How did this happen? Only because a law was introduced, or did people feel obliged, or did you have to threaten them with punishment or give them incentives? What did you do that you achieve 100% participation?
Yeah, I think the law contributed a lot, but also as Manon mentioned, incentives, and also we deliver free. We actually have the brown paper bags, and they get them for free. And I think it's also the brown bin. We deliver them, and I think we already had a high percentage using them because it was cheaper. But I don't think there also are punishment or like fees if you don't do this. But I actually don't know if that's the big reason, if people are scared or I don't know. But I think making it easy for the households.
We've had a question from Manon. He's saying, and starting with that, and then I rephrase Manon, maybe. You were saying why some households do not engage in the system. Now you say everybody is engaging. Did you identify the reason? You said the aim is to get 100% active households. How will that be done? Or you rephrased, since you just said it's managed to get 100, what actions are implemented to convince the remaining 90% to engage in the system? So I guess you were saying that there is already some fees if you're not engaging.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think also they stop like stop coming to you to get your grocery or your garbage, and you get there's fees and I don't know the English word, but there's the authority that you get, like that you check up on you.
So there is a question: have you been able to do studies? What has been effects of the video campaigns or other campaigns? Is there any impact studies on that?
Not yet, but we have 2 employees that are working with. They're not focusing on household right now, but the municipality organizations, and they are doing some surveys and analysis, but we haven't done anything yet to.
It's a bit early still in the process because it's
Yeah.
only since the beginning of 2024. Okay, there is a question from Ana Lopes, also from Portugal. Elin, in addition to biowaste, what other materials, residues are received at the AD plant? Thank you.
I'm not sure really. I think it's like, you mean besides of the food waste, what's
yeah,
in
maybe it's impurities. Is there like a lot of plastic inside, packaging
I think
inside,
plastic
metals?
I think plastic is the largest issue.
Is the largest issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, Susanna, we can maybe ask Elin to ask what else is there received. What is in the?
But I know plastic is a problem, but sure there's other materials as well, but that's the biggest issue.
And then we have another question from Maria, who asks, does the waste management company totally pay for the brown bags? Is it coming from hidden waste fees or for citizens?
Yeah, there's a fee for both the green for regular garbage and the brown for the food waste, and there's a fee for like the whole thing.
So there is a fee for the brown bags? You have to buy them?
Not the bags. Sorry, the bin. Yeah, and not the bags.
The bins. So the bags are being paid totally by the waste management company.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And you can get them anywhere. You can, if you're out, you can just put a bag, if you have one left, you can put it on the bin, and they see that you need more, so that they will leave more for you, or you can get it in the food store, and around the municipality.
Thank you very much. So we are looking forward to receiving some input on how this has worked out, what impact the video has had. So there is different ways of organizing that. So there's a lot of different resources already mentioned here in the chat. So please also go through it. We will share them with you again after the webinar. But we have from the European Compost Network, we have some from the Live, sorry, the name just escaped me, Live BioBest, some guidelines and so on. So there's a lot of good additional material being shared here in the chat by people. Well, for the moment, thank you very much, Elin, for your presentation. I remain very impressed what you have achieved. So let's see how this is working in Finland. So Kimmo, let us know for Salpakierto municipal waste management, how is it working there, and how do you also reach out to the detached houses?
Yes, thank you. So do you see my screen? Yes. Hopefully not.
Yes, everything fine.
Yes. Okay. Good afternoon. On behalf on my side also, I'm Kimmo Rinne. I work in Salpakierto as a development manager. Has been working there now for 3 years. So basically, I'm not telling about the situation in Salpakierto now. I will tell you an example of a project what we have made when we're collecting the bio-waste and what we have learned from that. But first, I'm not going to explain you the whole idea what it's included, but basically this is how our waste management system is informed and told that who or which properties have to sort and which waste materials. But we will now concentrate on this collection of bio-waste in detached houses. And in Finland, and at least now we start in, of course it's in the law, so everywhere in Finland, the detached houses must start bio-waste collecting 1st of July latest. And we will start it then. So we have made an inquiry for our household. That's how are you going to arrange the bio-waste sorting and collecting. So about 50% has informed us that they will have their own composter. So they will do it by their household. And the rest of 50% is so that we are organizing the collection of the bio-waste. So this concerns now the urban areas, so where there are over 10,000 citizens in that area. So basically it covers, in our area, it means that it covers maybe 50 to 70% of the population. So we will have a very good view about how we are going to then succeed in the bio-waste collection. And to say that the apartment buildings where there is about more than 10 households, there has been bio-waste collection more than 15 years. So we have experience how this is going on. Basically, I might say that it has not gone very well because the sorting level is not so good, but that's something that we have to work on in the future also. But I will tell you about this kind of pioneer model, which we had the project 3-4 years ago. It was a one year project. It was funded by EAKR in this biocycle project. But there were, during that time, we started to think about this bio-waste collection because it is very important, basically because the bio-waste it's spoiling the mixed waste, that you are not able to sort basically anything if you have most of the mixed waste is bio-waste. So the target, of course, it was meant for the detached house areas, and we have 3 targets. We wanted to have, as I said earlier, easy to use service model, that basically if you order this kind of bio-waste collection or any waste collection, it has to be handed you over everything. It covers everything. So, and the second issue was that we wanted to show or to the citizens or to the household that you are able to decrease the waste costs by sorting the wastes, including, of course, the bio-waste. And then the third idea was that we wanted to challenge the present this kind of model that the waste, bio-waste or other waste were collected by this kind of waste truck. So it was a plan to do or plan something else, a bit easier and a bit lighter version. So we had here in Lahti area 7 pilot areas, and as said, the pioneer service and the payment included everything. It covered the bio-waste bags, the bio-waste bins, and of course the pickups. So you just have to order that I want to be there, or include to the service. sorry, I have to, no, it's skipping one. No, it was not. So then about the system. It looks very complex, but it's basically it's quite simple. What is based on that, we have two different kind of so-called customers in our system. There is this called small bin household customer and then a BioLink household customer. And basically it means that small bin household customers, they have the indoor bin which contains of this kind of paper bag and waste rack. And according to our knowledge, as the discussion that in our knowledge, the paper bag is better when we are talking about processing further the bio waste. But of course, it depends on which kind of further processing you have. And the idea is that the small bin household customers, we also had a special kind of these outdoor bins. They were 35 or 50 liters bins, and you were able to lock it, so nobody is able to, any animals are able to open it or so on. And the outdoor bins were emptied every 2 weeks, but those were emptied by a van. So, and the van was emptying or collecting 5 to 7 these kind of small bin households, and then it travels to the BioLink household customer and emptied the small bin household customers' bio waste bags, this kind of standard 240 liters bin. And then the following day, these BioLink customers' bins were emptied by this kind of bit of traditional waste truck. And what it meant, that the waste truck, it had to do less stops, and it was able to gather more bio waste in one tour. So every time it was emptying this kind of BioLink bin, the bin was fully, so the filling rate was really high. So that was one benefit why it was, and it was working, and it's still working. And this was shortly the idea, that very simple way, 2 different kind of customers, and then okay, 2 different kind of ways to collect the bio waste from the households. And how did we organize the pilot? Of course, we have to do it by voluntary registration. We had a lot of voluntary households or detached houses, but we were able to take a bit over 200 to this pilot. And even though it was a one year project, we continued, and it's still continuing the system until June of this year, because then starts the conventional or standard selection. And one very important thing when you are doing this kind of pilot concerning, I think it's a project, so it's that you have to gather a lot of information and give information. And what we did, we were weighting the bio waste bins, and we were evaluating the filling rate of the bins once a month. We were giving customer satisfaction, of course, and we were asking customers. We had this wearable survey going on all the time. It was a continuous customer satisfaction survey going on. We made the composition studies, so we know or knew what happens in the bins and how the citizens are then really sorting the mixed waste and bio waste. And of course, we were calculating and calculating the profitability and growth potential all the time, that we were figuring and calculating the info and data what we got. And also we were talking with the logistic companies, that how we can improve the collection efficiency. And then about the results, what we got, because it was quite huge. When we started before we started the pioneer model, in the mixed waste there were over 60% of bio waste in the mixed waste. It's a huge amount of bio waste. Of course, it's natural because you didn't have a bio waste bin to do it. So, but in the end of the this pioneer model, after 1 year, it was so that the content in mixed waste was so that there were bio waste about 14%. So it's in a quite sensitive and good level that we are able then to sort in our sorting plant the mixed waste, that we are able to sort the other waste materials. What was of course what we were this content of bio waste, as you can see, that there were a lot of wood waste. That means that there were unopened wood packages, so loss of wood. But we gave a lot of feedback to our customers or the citizens, and in the end, of course, this improved also. So people had less wood loss than in the beginning. So shortly this, and there is a total amount 53 tons was collected during 1 year. So also quite good amount of bio waste. And then, as said, that the customer satisfaction and the discussion between and the feedback between the customers was very important, and we had a very good project persons who were always in contact, or they were all available when our customers had something to ask and say. And as you see that the satisfaction rate was really high, so everybody has liked this model. Then we also, as said, that we calculated what should be the profitability target and efficiency target and efficiency rate, that we are able to handle also the costs for this collection of bio waste. And basically, if you are not very greedy company, you can also give the benefits to the citizens, that we are not maximizing the profit, but then we are able to keep also the waste collection cost lower. And then finally, conclusions and learnings. As said, customers, they were very satisfied because the service was very easy. It covers everything, that you didn't have to pay or get any bags or something from the shop or something. It belonged to the service. And also the cost of the emptying was really considered very moderate. And I think if we are comparing it, what it will be, so it might be a little bit lower than it will be now in the future.
Kimmo, 1 minute, please. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Training and info, as said, and as we were talking about why we wanted to have the bins and bags similar, because then we can also talk with the further processing companies, as we have here. But then the learnings that why there were something that we are not able to force the BioLink customers. That was a challenge, because we cannot say that you are a BioLink customer, but you are not. So that was something what we discussed with the authorities. Also the ergonomics when collecting the smaller bins, the weight was over 20 kilos. So and one important idea I said earlier is that you have to discuss and understand the needs and for the citizens. And then the last issue is that how to challenge the traditional way of collecting bio waste and other waste. So we were not able to sell it, and of course I have to look in the mirror, because when it starts in the July, so it's the standard way or traditional way that we are going to collect the bio waste. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Kimmo. So you're going to implement this Bioneary concept, or you're not? This at the end here didn't understand.
No, it's still going on, but it's not going to be the standard way of now when it starts in July, because there are some issues that, like I said, that we are not able to do it. But in 2026, it might be possible, because then we are also taking care of the logistics of mixed waste. So then we are able to also to have a new possibility to rethink about the collection of bio-waste and mixed waste also.
Very good. Thank you very much. I think also very impressive what you have achieved with your pilot project, going from 61 down to 14%. That is a lot. When you see the customers, they seem to be very happy. At your side, you seem to increase the efficiency of the collection, the profitability of the collection as well. So all in all, a very good pilot project, and I hope that you will be able to implement it. To implement it also fully in 2026, that would be great, because it seems to be very positive for all the sites.
Yeah, basically, and honestly, I have to say that maybe not fully this kind of system, but there are some items which are really good and some others no. So we have time to improve the system also, that it can be when, and of course there are lots of, because now it was only 200 detached houses, but if you have, like we are going to have about nearly 9,000
yes
detached houses that the collection starts, so it's a bit
Everybody, a
difference.
question for you. The question is coming from Manon. Why weren't you able to pitch this idea to the local authority, and what were the main issues?
The main issue was, I said, that how to force to be the BioLink customer and so on. That was maybe the biggest one, because the authorities and also us, because we were discussing with the authorities, that one challenge, how to ensure that I will be the BioLink customer forever, because then it collapsed, that if we don't have the BioLink customers, the system collapses. So.
Yeah, it's you thought of this cascading system, and if the customer goes out, then you have a problem. But thank you very much. So we're crossing fingers that you find good solutions, and we are going to now hear Ana Lopes to speak about how they have been working in Portugal. So Ana, the word is yours.
Thank you very much. I was invited to present Lipor's experience from our peer review. So I will try to make a brief presentation with the most important information. Lipor is a municipalities association for sustainable waste management of Greater Porto, and we manage, treat and recover almost 10% of the national municipal waste generated in our territory, produced by around 1 million inhabitants. So you can see our 8 municipalities there in the northwest of Portugal, and we have a very diverse territory because we have large urban centers, and we also have some very rural and mountainous areas, and also beach resorts with a high flotation population during summer months. We treat every year more than 500,000 tons of municipal waste, of urban waste, and at the moment more than 40% of this urban waste is bio-waste. We have always had a bio-waste reduction and recovery strategy. We have been prioritizing prevention projects and also recycling at source, and being complemented with the separate collection of bio-waste at the residential and non-residential sector. It's important to highlight that the purity of the bio-waste collected, it's a very fundamental aspect for the feasibility and success of our project, because we are we are very concerned, and it's our strategy to have high quality products. And in the case of the bio-waste recovery, we have a composting plant where we produce high quality organic compost that is commercialized by the name of Nutrimais. So it's very important to have a reduced presence of contaminants. When we decided to make or to apply to a peer review, we had a lot of barriers that we are facing. Some of them still maintain. So we still need to continuously address these challenges. So I'm going to name a few. The type of flow is one of the most important because of its specific characteristics. People have a lot of wrong ideas regarding especially food waste, that it's smelly, it's dirty, it demands a lot of cleaning. And so this results in a low mobilization of the population, and also low capture rates, and also high presence of contaminants. So we need to raise the awareness of the population for this specific type of flow. Another challenge that we have is the climate of our region that affects the degradation of this type of flow, and having also influence on the collection frequency. Another barrier that we have is that at the moment we are not allowing the usage of food waste compostable bags because during in our composting plant the process lasts 2 weeks, and during these 2 weeks the compostable bags are not fully degraded, and so at the moment it is not allowed, and it's in fact a barrier that we are facing, and we are still working to see how we will manage this in the future. Another difficulty that we have is the lack of urban consistency, because we have mixed urban areas with high-rise buildings and detached houses, and it's not easy for the municipalities to establish their efficient collection routes. Let me just clarify that the municipalities are responsible for the collection, and Lipor is responsible for the treatment. And we also have lack of pay-as-you-throw models with benefits and/or penalties, and this impacts obviously the results that we are achieving. So for the municipalities to have efficient collection systems with high participation rate of the population, and of course not only participation but with a high capture of food waste, it's important to have tailored solutions. So what were the benefits we encountered with the peer review? Well, it was an opportunity for us to make an in-depth critical thinking on biowaste separate collection and pay-as-you-throw systems. It was possible to create a network and a sharing knowledge between our main stakeholders. We had the opportunity to involve them and to think about the biowaste collection, and we are talking about Lipor, our associated municipalities, and also other relevant players of our sector. And I think the most important thing to highlight is that it was very important to have a panel of experts that was evaluating our reality, identifying our challenges, and thinking about our case, let's say, and then they were able to identify a set of case studies or solutions that would address our reality and allow us to overcome our barriers. So this was very important for us. It was very helpful and allows us at the moment to Lipor and our associated municipalities, of course, to make better informed decisions. So it's something that we expect that it's like a learning lesson, a big learning lesson involving different stakeholders and thinking in our reality and how to resolve our challenges. So this is at the moment our results that we have been achieving in the last few years. We have improved our stakeholders' knowledge on successful projects regarding biowaste collection. It was also possible to overcome some concerns. For example, our municipalities were delaying the implementation of food waste collection, and we could see that with the presentation of successful projects. It already happened today, for example, with the cases that are being presented. It was possible for our municipalities to realize that the food waste collection is not, it does not demand, like they were thinking, collection almost daily. So it was possible to overcome some concerns and clarify some doubts that they had. One other result that we obtained was that we promoted a common vision amongst our municipalities. As you saw, we have 8 municipalities. They have each one their reality, their political visions, and so sometimes it's difficult to have a common vision. And with this peer review, we were able to create a common strategy regarding the biowaste collection. So we were able to determine that the municipalities, most of them were going to implement door-to-door food waste collection with bring on equipments with controlled access, and they were also going to expand the green waste collection. So we have been continuing to develop the biowaste prevention projects and communication and awareness campaigns. We have been expanding the biowaste separate collection, and we highlight the expansion of the green waste collection because in the past few years, the municipalities were thinking about the food waste, how to overcome these misconceptions that were established, and sometimes the green waste was at the end of the line. And we have been working, and as I said, we created a common vision, and so the municipalities are now working on these to flow almost with the same effort for the food waste and the green waste. As an example, we have had in 2020 almost 14,000 households with door-to-door food waste collection, and in 2023, last year, we almost reached 150,000 households with the door-to-door food waste collection. So we are talking almost about 1/3 of our households, our population, that can do now the food waste separate collection. We also have been expanding our home and community composting. We have at the moment more than 17,000 composting bins distributed in our region and 9 community composting sites active, with a lot of people participating in this central community composting process. We have also been implementing a decentralized treatment strategy. We will be inaugurating in the beginning of May a green waste composting park. This facility is a facility that will be used for the 2 municipalities, Vila do Conde and Póvoa de Varzim, that are the most further away from our centralized units, from our headquarters. So this will be a facility that will be used by these 2 municipalities, where we will be able to do green waste composting.
Anna, 1 minute, please. Yes.
Okay, I'm finishing. And we also have a micro-digester that will be used for the food waste treatment of the Póvoa de Varzim food waste that is collected at this municipality. We have also implemented a pay-as-you-throw by our Maya municipality, and most important is that we are developing a monitoring model of urban waste. Probably if you know Lipor, you will already have heard about data center. That is a system that we are constructing, and transforming so that we have reliable data and we can support the municipalities with the development of their pay-as-you-throw system. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Anna, for presenting this very impressive case as well. It was really, really great to see how you have been able to bring so many people to make it available, the whole the collection of biowaste, the home composting, which you have increased massively. So you have done really a lot of things: communication campaigns, education. Also, you improved your treatment facilities. We had one question on treatment facilities. Do you think it would be good to have them at a decentralized level or as close as possible to the origin of the waste? So that's excluding home composting now.
I think it's important to have decentralized units that respond to some other goals. For example, in the case of Povo de Varzim and Vila do Conde, they have a lot of costs related with the transportation of this green waste. That is because of its specifications. They are transporting most of the time parties air, it's oxygen, and so it's because they transport it as they collect it. They don't make any type of cutting. And so I think it's important to have this type of units, but it's also important so that the company that is responsible for the management, in our case Lipor, maintains a process of monitoring this type of units. Lipor will be responsible for this unit. We also have our research and investigation department involved. So we will try to maintain as much as possible the monitoring of the process so that we establish a green waste composting process efficient, and also that we can have at the end a high quality product that can be included. We will evaluate if we will increase our Nutri-Mais products that we have with green waste compost. So I think we should go for decentralized infrastructures, but with, of course, having monitoring, a plan of monitoring different type of indicators.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You've also said that the compostable bags are currently not being accepted. You said because they are not decomposing fast enough in the composting unit. That was the 2 weeks that you mentioned.
Yes.
And I guess, yes.
We have a two-phase process in our composting plant, and it's not sufficient for the degradation of the compostable bags, and it appears at the end of the product with small pieces, and normally the farmers don't understand what type of material is that, so they identify it as being a contaminant, so something that they don't want it in their final product. So it is something that we are addressing, we are evaluating, we do a lot of tests with different type of samples, and we are still evaluating what will be the future regarding this.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We have another question from Christophe, who is asking, to what extent was the expansion of home community composting essential to Lipor's goals of quality compost production? And what is precisely meant with the micro-digester? How micro is it, your anaerobic digester?
Micro-digester is it's 2.5 tons per day of treatment of food waste by anaerobic digester. I'm not sure if we have on our website at Lipor more information, but it's probably we will place more information. We are at the moment making some tests with the equipment, and it will also be inaugurated in the beginning of May. So maybe in 1 month.
Yeah, sorry.
Maybe in 1 month we may have more information publicized,
which we can share. And also he asked, the expansion of home community composting was massive, as far as I'm concerned. So was that essential also for your goals of achieving high quality compost, or is that more like in the direction of waste prevention?
Yeah, it's in the direction of the waste prevention, but we still raise awareness regarding the quality of the soil. So we try to promote among the citizens the usage of compost and the importance of using compost to recover the quality of the soils. That, for example, in Portugal, we have low organic matter content in our soil, so it's important. And we also have a team dedicated to this process, so we do a lot of awareness raisings. We visit the composting bins, and we also, I'm not sure, but maybe I can confirm that we randomly take some samples of the compost, and then we make some monitoring to evaluate if the process is achieving the results that we are interested in.
Thank you very much, Ana. Really impressive. That's also being said in the chat. So congratulations for your great work, and we wish you all of success also for the future. So with that, we have not been able to answer all the questions, but I would still like to ask our panelists for a last resume before we are closing this webinar. So please, can we start with Manon? So what do you think should be the most important points, like maybe one priority that people should set?
I would say start informing people about the possibility of setting up such system, and do not wait to implement it to start talking about it. Because earlier you would communicate, higher will be the compliance with the system. Yeah, I would say that. So I leave the rest for the other speakers.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, Ana, why not you? I see you next on my screen.
I think I agree with Manon. I think it's very important to communicate, to have the citizens engaged, and be resilient. I think we need to be prepared to make some mistakes and to overcome them, and maybe to try to change the strategy in the middle of the way. So I think we don't need to be afraid, and to learn from the others, from the success or lessons learned from the other projects. So this type of the exchanging of knowledge and information, I think it's also important in terms of who manages the waste.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and I think the learning process is an important point. Elin?
Yes, I agree as well, that communication and education, and that the municipal organizations are setting a good example for the households.
Thank you. And setting an example, I think we have another point here that is good. And I hope that Kimmo is saying something about user-friendly. Kimmo.
Yeah, I think that we have to somehow get the understanding that you are able to decrease your costs, the waste management costs, which is important because we are not taking. And then the other issue is that you are, by doing that sorting, you are also improving the recycling rate. So it's beneficial for yourself and also for the community that we are able to increase the recycling rate. So I think.
Well, thank you very much. I think we have seen some really good cases here, not only in the north, but also in Portugal and in Milan and so on. You have been sharing that it is possible actually everywhere. It's not only possible in Scandinavia, for example, which is usually used as an example. So again, thank you for sharing this. If any of the participants is interested in getting more specific tailor-made advice, don't hesitate to contact us for a peer review, for example. It's an easy application process. And you can put this in the evaluation form, which we would ask you to fill out. That would be great. You can also mention any other subjects that you would like us to treat in our webinars. So please don't be shy, and we hope to see you all back next week when we're speaking more in depth on treatment possibilities. So registration for that one is still open, and we will share all the information with you in the future. So a big thank you to our speakers, A big thank you to Magda, and also a big thank you to Valentine for helping us running this webinar so successfully. So thanks for being with us, and hope to see you very soon and hear from you very soon, and all the best. Bye-bye.